Hello, Internet. Today we are going to play with trying to provision EdgeDB on Google Cloud. This is going to be a pain in my ass, and hopefully this will be over quickly, but we'll soon find out. Um, I have pre-spun up a GKE cluster, so we'll have a Kubernetes cluster already up and running before we actually start to do anything because, well, it takes more than 10 minutes and it's a waste of my time and yours. Apart from that, I think everything else should be fine. So we just need to, first of all, set ourselves a project. So gcloud set, what is it? Gcloud config set project, and we are on the right one. And apart from that, I think we just need to make sure everything here is enabled. So I'm pretty sure that's already up and running and everything's fine. And we can create ourselves, we are basically following the docs of like spinning this up, and we will definitely suffer at some point because that's the way things work. Yeah, and let's set ourselves a password. Okay, and we've got ourselves a secure password, hopefully. And we can now provision a database. Let's do that in US Central 1 because that's where our cluster is located. And we definitely want to export the dollar project thing right here. So export project equals this one. And just to be sure, let me just verify we do have the password in our environment variables. So echo dollar password. And we do have that. Amazing. So we've got our password, we've got our project environment variables. So this should work, but let's aim for US Central 1. One CPU, about 4 gigabytes of RAM. Should be fine for anything. We can run that. I would run that usually with Terraform, but yesterday I tried like using Terraform for provisioning SQL and it was pain. So just so you know, whenever you're doing this on a production server, please manage with Terraform and not with like manual commands. This would be much more reproducible, but also you will suffer. And while this is running, let's see what is the next thing that we're going to do. We are going to create ourselves a user with the newly created password that we just entered here. And I wonder, why do we need the password? Like, I'm pretty sure. Oh, in order to connect remotely. Okay, sure. I would have preferred something like a key exchange that is like dependent on my identity and not like remembering this password, because right now that means I will need to remember this password for life. But we can, this will do for now. Let's verify this is actually running. So cloud SQL. Okay, so this one is being created right now. So this progress bar is not in vain. By the way, by default, it has a public IP address, which is crazy. I really don't understand what is it with Google and public IP addresses for every instance. Like, I would not recommend having this kind of thing. Okay, I'm checking if we can do stuff in parallel because this is wasting our time. So we already do have a cluster. So that thing we can forget for now. We can create ourselves a service account in another tab. So let's do that. So gcloud IAM service account, create project account, project. Sure. And it says, I don't know what kind of project, what the hell do you mean? Because we need to export this one again. Okay, so we've got ourselves a service account. We can now export this one. And set some policies. Awesome. Yeah, that's the critical stuff that I would claim. We have a credentials JSON here. Or does that save the credentials JSON? Okay, so that creates a credentials JSON for us, right? Yeah, we now have a super secret JSON file here. That's really good. Like, we need to make sure we don't lose that. And let's make sure kubectl get um, um, in which namespace, in which context am I? Kubectl get current context. Okay, awesome. So we are configured to the right cluster. That means we can run kube commands and we are going to issue them to the right instance, to the right cluster. Okay, so this one also needs to be exported. And DSN, that's not going to work because not in that tab at least. In this tab though, things should work. So our DSN here is going to be this one. And we can now, oh, let's export that again. Yeah. And we have created a secret. We can now deploy this directly. If you're curious what lies within this YAML, not a lot. As you can see, this is basically just pulling the EdgeDB Docker, opening up a container port. Also, it has a liveness and readiness probe on the same port. And apart from that, it has like passwords, backend DSN. Really not a lot. Like it basically you can configure it with like a certificate, a key, and not a whole lot, which is nice. Like I appreciate the fact that this is a really sane and simple YAML file, because reading them is quite horrific. Back to provisioning. If we done everything correctly, yeah, we right now have one pod ready already. If we watch kubectl get pods, I wonder why is only why only one of them is ready right now. But we will definitely. Oh, let's get the logs. Sure. And it says bootstrapping EdgeDB instance on remote Postgres cluster. And it says Password authentication failed for user Postgres. Could not complete instance bootstrap. Ooh, that's quite unfortunate. What are we planning to do about that? Creating a user, because we forgot to do that. Now, if we get the logs again, I wonder about the logs. How can we right now let them know, let Kubernetes know that everything is should now be working? Okay, in summary, I fucked up by first bootstrapping EdgeDB before configuring the database fully, and now it's my fault that I've broken everything. We could try to reapply the deployment of EdgeDB unchanged. I wonder what can we actually do to make things restart. So first of all, I was taught that the VS Code extension is quite nice in terms of like managing Kubernetes clusters. So maybe let's try to open that one and figure out what went wrong. Remote explore. So we do have our Kubernetes. Readiness probe failed 6 times over 3 minutes. Ooh, interesting. So first of all, I'm not sure if this certificate is secret or not, but I will be definitely destroying this one after this bootstrapping is like after this video, so I'm not worried about that, but definitely do not show your certificates to anyone unless you know for certain that they're not that they should be public and everything's fine. Okay, let's move on with our deployment. So we have successfully logged our EdgeDB. I think that means that if we get the pods now, yeah, we have 2 pods ready, which is amazing because that means we have a highly available deployment over our Postgres instance for EdgeDB. And let's continue with the guide. So kubectl create secret generic Cloud SQL TLS credentials from literal TLS key, blah, 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 exec HDB. Okay, so this is basically now persisting the certificate, if I understand correctly. And we can now delete the deployment and apply the deployment again. Interesting. Okay, so we have created a self-signed certificate when we bootstrapped our cluster. And in order for us to redeploy all new servers with that certificate, we are going to we have persisted the certificate, and now every freshly new deployed cluster is going to have that exact certificate. And that's not the right one. Have deleted the deployment, but now need to apply it again. And now if we run kubeget pods, I think one of them will be ready in a minute. We can actually get logs. Or you know what? Let's actually open a new terminal and put it there. And this one will be shoved to the side. And here we can just watch kubeget pods. Yeah, okay, so they're already both ready. Back to the guide. kubectl expose, deploy EdgeDB, type load balancer. Sounds good. That means we are exposing our database publicly. I mean, not amazing, but should be fine for now. And get service. So we've got ourselves cluster IP and external IP pending. So our cluster does not have an external IP, which is probably my fault for not letting it have one. Let's see. If we go for the cluster and we see here private, false. IP, ephemeral, network. I really don't recall how to do this correctly. Let's figure it out. So this is the node pool. We are looking for the cluster itself. So in the cluster, work, policy, networking mode, VPC native. Probably not the thing that we're aiming for. Let's go to our handy dashboard. So let's go for GKE and GKE clusters dashboard, like the right place to go to. No, not monitoring. No, Kubernetes. And within our infra. So we should have a public IP for this one. Definitely looks like it. So what is up with the... Oh, there it is. Apparently, I was just... Okay, everything takes time, and I need to get to be more zen. So watch kubectl get AGS, I would assume. AGS is kube get services. Awesome. So we can watch that as well. Or apparently watch the quoted thing of KGS. And it says, I don't know, the hell are you talking about? Which? And it says, I don't know what you're talking about. Ah, God damn it. Why can't I expand this not within the watch? Anyhow, it's just watch. kubectl get services. Anyhow, we do have a public IP, which means we can continue onwards with our IP. So let's export that. That is going to be this IP. And the DSN is going to be export HTTP DSN equals to, why do I not copy everything? And just to be sure, we will now echo, yeah, echoing this should be insecure because you will be able to see what I'm doing. So I'll just echo that here. And we do still have our password. And we can move on. And we can now connect to the EdgeDB DSN. So we now have ourselves a database apparently, which means I can also try to, okay, in development, to make this instance easier to work with locally, you can create an alias. EdgeDB instance link. Okay, that's a nice thing. I wasn't aware that's a thing that we can do. Password from standard N, non-interactive, trust TLS certificate, GCP instance. Okay, that's quite nice. On apply migrations, HTTP migration. To connect to this instance in production, set the HTTP DSN environment variable wherever you deploy your application server. Okay, I think we have our thing deployed. I wonder if we now run UI. If you have HTTP2, try running the server with admin UI enabled. Web UI is not served correctly by the specified server. That's quite unfortunate. I really wanted us to like have a nice UI and not like only have the REPL. Let's just upgrade the CLI because they're crying about that. And it says by running the server with admin UI enabled. Why can't we have that enabled? Why do they not enable it in the YAML? Let's figure it out by looking a little bit closer into the guide of the EdgeDB UI. So UI, building the UI, integrated admin UI. So all V2 instances ship with a built-in rich admin GUI. We just need to run EdgeDB UI. Yeah. Maybe I should add that here, and that would somehow work. No. So we need to definitely enable that. V4 UI. In order for us to actually use the UI, we should somehow enable that. So let's figure out what's written in this YAML. This one. Let's actually call that EdgeDB YAML, just to be a little bit more nicer. And we've got ourselves the EdgeDB container, and why aren't they using the UI itself? I'm wondering. So EdgeDB UI GK. So this one looks just the same, so that's not interesting. Maybe if we just look at the Docker thing. So that's no fun. I really wanted this UI to work. Let's try locally then, just to play with the UI, and then we'll edit the YAML and try to redeploy that. Or you know what? Actually, so this is the end variables. We don't need them. We don't need the Cloud SQL proxy. We don't need the credentials. So this is somewhere here on this container. How do we get the actual UI working? So EdgeDB UI Docker. EdgeDB admin UI. Okay, never mind. Docker pull EdgeDB /EdgeDB. while that is pulling, we will try to figure out what do we need to do to actually make this work. Okay, nice. Docker run dash dash rm dash dash it and run. And it says set your server security to insecure dev mode. Sure, no worries. Dash E 1. Oh, that's nice. Um, it didn't take the thingy, so let's just use this. And we need to say insecure dev mode. And it says now bootstrapping everything, and we need to also bind the port. So dash P, and what was that port? 5656. So that one. Yeah, by the way, this is like the Docker is also apparently bootstrapping Postgres now internally, which is quite interesting. Okay, so we've got ourselves, this is running locally. We're just trying to make this work. And we can now try and figure out, we go to localhost 5656, and it says unknown path, but this is like the server is responding. Can we try now with the local one? So if we go here and we copy the same EdgeDB command from the guide back from Google Cloud. Yeah, so our DSN is basically yellow security insecure. So our DSN is, what's the DSN format? It's EdgeDB at IP. So no passwords, so it's just going to be localhost. And it says cannot pass DSN, invalid port number. So there is no port number here. So do we need, let's try with not localhost, but locally like that. Also maybe let's add the port, so 5656. Cannot pass DSN, invalid port number again. Oh, because it's this one. It's at localhost. It says that it's working. And we can now try to bootstrap the UI, and it says admin UI not enabled. Okay, so we can now also kill this one because we don't want that, and we can try to pass in the args. And if we pass the right args, this might just magically work. And it says, okay, we can now continue on with, because we don't care about security right now because we're running localhost, and this is working. So we need to pass this command to our Docker image. We can also try to figure out if our EdgeDB, let's dash help that, and let's look up for the that and look for UI. So maybe we can try this one then. Let's figure out if we run dash dash help, will we see more information? So let's look at that. Oh no, that's terrible. That's terrible, terribly terrible. Let's pipe that into less then. Also, less is unhappy. I wonder. Okay, so let's just throw all over that locally. So this is EdgeDB server pi. Apparently, I was not aware that that was a Python file. Bootstrap only, commands, ports, dev mode, test mode, compiler pool size, shutdown, TLS certificates, TLS mode. And if we look for the UI itself, what we see is default enabled disabled. Does that have an environment variable that we can just use easily? Let's figure this out because probably we can find that here. So configuration. Schema reference and variables. Okay, UI. Amazing. So we can pass that in, which is quite nice. And just add our name, admin UI, value. What was that? Enabled, set to enabled. I think that's it, because these are secrets. We don't need the secrets. We don't need to, okay, yeah. And here it says generate self-signed. So let's just paste that right there. I hate the whole string interpolation stuff in YAML. Like, why is this the best practice? Anyhow, kubectl apply -f EdgeDB. And it says configured. And we can now go back to watching our pods. It will now say, oh no, do we have now two services running? That's because I renamed the file. Damn it. No, okay, so it was just the switching time. So if we now try to go back to running our EdgeDB against the EdgeDB DSN, and we can now, it says use the encryption. Invalid cert. I don't care about the invalid cert. I want the, I want to trust the certificate. God damn it. How do I trust this rando certificate here? Certificate not valid. It says public key. I want fingerprint. So that's kind of sad. What can we do about that? Can we do something about that? not now. Okay, so never mind about like using the UI. We can try to actually, can we just, yeah, okay, never mind. Let's just use the REPL and prove ourselves we've got ourselves a DB. So first of all, help, because I do not know the REPL well enough. So describe schema, list schema, dump restore, as there, set connect. So let's just try to, first of all, classic, select one. Is that not the thing that we want to try and do? Oh, we're not inside the database yet? So we do have a database. /d/ds. Module default, nothing here. Oh, so we probably want to /c, then run internally, then yeah, /c EdgeDB. Oh, I see. So I forgot to terminate my query, and that's making everyone sad. And as you know, in EdgeDB, everything is a set. So you're always, even if you select a single number, you're going to get that back in a set, which is nice. That means that there are no nulls here, but you do have the empty sets, which is kind of nice, and it usually provides a lot of safety guarantees. Anyhow, right now, I don't know what can we do about this invalid certificate. This one is a bit sad, but we can try and do something fancy. But I don't know, like we have ourselves a provision database, and I don't know, time is getting a bit late. Can we maybe try and, oh, that's nice. So this is basically aliasing our EdgeDB. We can now run that instead of like the whole thingy thing. Okay, so that's kind of nice. And we can apply migrations in production to connect to this instance, set the HTTPDSN. Okay, so nothing very interesting here. We have an instance. It took a while. It was not that painful, actually. Mainly I wasted a bit of time about like playing around with the wanting to make the UI working, but that's all right. Maybe in another video we'll try to actually administrate this DB. But I think for now it's going to be enough. So yeah, apparently not that hard. And we'll try to maybe run some application above this DB at another video. So I hope you maybe enjoyed that, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.